Go live. You're live. Oh, I'm not centered though. Hi, hey everyone. It's Drew Murray from D20 Advice, and today, sorry, I brought the candle on just as a prop for the thumbnail thing, so that's not appearing at any point in the video. That's on silent. Yes, that's on silent. Fantastic. Hey everyone. My 30-day world, absolute tabletops, cool project thing. Next day, today, day 18, is relics that shaped the present, I think. Let's just double check. Because I started recording a version of this earlier, and then my gaming group came in. So I had to stop. What relics of the past shape the present? Yes. So I did take a quick skip ahead and had a look at the next few days worth of things. And, oh, hey Darius. I had a look and saw a couple of other things, and there's another question about relics later on as well. And that question is, what is a legendary relic of power in your world? And that made me realize that relics that shape the past and legendary relics that are about in the world are definitely two different questions. But the question I want to answer is not exactly this one. And so I'm going to use this as a jumping off point. The relics that shaped the past, the closest I get is my constructs, these humongous things that you can adventure inside like a dungeon. But these are massive automatons that were created by gnomes, dwarves, and humans all working together to fight demons. They're long since abandoned. Many of them have become petrified and essentially are mountains now. So you can dive into a mountain, go through a cave, and go through this weird mechanical marvel of a dungeon and realize that it is, in fact, an automaton that you're inside. So those relics have somewhat shaped the past. They protected people from demons into the current modern world. What I want to talk about instead, though, because that's like a minor point, and I went into those in a previous video a bit more. Magic items. There's a few magic items that I find are really cool, and that make the context of how things are in my world a bit clearer. Magic items in my world are supposed to be these wondrous things. So where wondrous items come in the Dungeon Master's Guide, a lot of my magic items, I sort of shunt into that category a little bit. The power level is on par with standard magic items, but they usually have a bit more utility than standard magic items. My favorite at the moment is the helm that I have not named yet. But the helm is something that essentially makes you a centaur. You place this helmet on, flame erupts from about your waist and creates a horse-like body. It raises you up off the ground. And so now you have a horse-like body for as long as you wear the helmet. That means that you can travel a lot faster, that you've got a bit more maneuverability in combat. The fact that it's a body made out of flame means that someone can't ride on the back of you, so you don't have the full utility of being a centaur. It's not transforming you at all, but it's got the sort of elemental quality. So anything that you've got that can improve fire things at all, that can play into it. I created this magic item when the Taihun campaign was much more elementally themed than it is now. But I still like it. I like it a lot, especially since the first time I introduced it, someone put it on as they were about to charge down a hill, and they discovered what it did as they were charging down the hill. So as they were charging down the hill, running, and then they're getting faster and faster and faster, and eventually they're a centaur. So I really like that. And they did D6 fire damage with the hooves, and it would expand to D8 fire damage with the hooves whenever the elemental plane of fire was sort of in celestial alignment. But I've got rid of the celestial alignment aspect to the Taihun campaign, so the exacerbation of it isn't there. I'm still working on a way that isn't too convoluted to make these items more useful from an external source. So rather than just making the helmet a bit better, having the helmet have that basic sort of flame body template and have something else that can exacerbate it, something that can make it bigger and better. Which is another thing. Another two things really: dragon blood and this particular potion that's made from distilled dragon blood. The distilled dragon blood potion is a magic item that I made that was something that just made you bigger and better. A small boy drank it, and he became a full-grown man with rippling muscles and could immediately go into a fight, pick up an axe. Rah! It gave you the equivalent of a barbarian raid if you were fully grown, but also made you into a large creature rather than a medium creature, and increased your strength commensurately. It was like a belt of giant strength sort of potion drink. Baby dragons, it would turn into full-blown dragons. This was version 3 that I was running it, so Dragonborn weren't really a thing. But I would do the same thing. With Dragonborn, I would say, right, it mutates you slightly, gives you dragon wings and things. It was always a temporary thing. It ran out after a couple of minutes. But this is distilled from dragon blood. Pure dragon blood, as in the blood that's in a dragon, is magical and can bestow elemental properties to anything dipped in it. So if you stab a dragon and draw blood, the blade that you've just stabbed that dragon with is now a magical weapon. I essentially determine what it is based on the thematics of the situation. If you are fighting a dragon, you just get a +1 enhancement bonus. If it's already a magical item, then it kind of stops there. You can't like keep making it more and more magical. But if you were to produce a ritual, perform a ritual, and use the dragon blood as part of that ritual, you can create much more powerful magic items. You can also drink the dragon blood and gain a temporary like dragon's breath based on the type of dragon that it is. And this potion is something that I'm currently using in something that I'm trying to refine as an idea. There's a convention that I'm going to be at in May where I'll be running a variation of this, and I'm currently playtesting this idea and this scenario with a couple of people that I know and trust. And they're really enjoying the concept of it. And that is of a dragon trapped, and there's a sort of bloodletting going on. I'm flip-flopping between whether I want the situation to be he has been trapped and the bloodletting is being done by conscious beings that want to get the dragon blood. The situation that I'm playtesting right now is that it's a natural phenomenon. The dragon just got trapped and stalagmites have stabbed into the side of it. So now there's a natural channel of blood where people can go and create magical items and things. It's given the caves this sort of legendary status, as these are caves where just random magical things can happen. But the party has since discovered that it is, in fact, a trapped dragon, that the entire wall of this part of the cave is dragon scale that's been slowly petrified over time. So it looks like stone. And because the dragon can't move and its head is in another chamber, you can't quite clearly make the correlation between what's happening up in this chamber and in the further down below chamber where its head is, and you're hearing all these roars and things. And of course, it's roaring and breathing fire, so no one can get close to it to identify that this is a dragon and it's trapped. And they're loving this idea, especially since it's a red dragon that's trapped, and they understand the correlation between red dragon and just generally like evil and being an arse. So they're not quite sure whether they want to keep it here and abuse the resources of the dragon blood, or if they want to free it just for the sake of freeing it, because they know they're not going to get anything good from it, but they just know that that would be the moral choice. So dragon's blood is an important relic. These massive automatons are important relics, but magic items, I feel, are far more important than these sort of ancient things. The ancient things haven't really shaped the world. It's more the politics of the landscape that has shaped the world. Yeah, dragon's blood is going to feature a lot more. Whereas previously I was focused on more elemental things, dragon's blood is really where I'm focusing a lot of my efforts and attention to develop part of the Taihun world, because it's not something that's explored an awful lot. In the monster manual, you can see that half dragons are created using a ritual that involves dragon blood. and I've been fixated on the idea of dragons being this inherently magical thing. Unfortunately, ever since I watched the Dungeons and Dragons film from the year 2000, 2001, I don't know. But that is unfortunately how I got into the hobby proper. I watched the bonus features on that DVD. It was a documentary called Let the Games Begin, which I think you can still find on YouTube. And the way that they described the game was amazing. I mean, I first started playing role-playing games before then, but I didn't really realize what they were. I didn't get any commercial connection at all. Like I didn't have a game to latch onto. It was just the general concept of role-playing games. Because I'd see like episodes of Dexter's Lab, and I'd watch ET, and I'd see they're doing something, they're playing something, and I'd like distill what I was seeing into something that I could do with my cousins. And yeah, when I finally got around to playing D&D, it was like this big release. It was amazing. So what was the point of that? Yes, in the film Dungeons and Dragons, they go on about like elves are part of magic and things, but also dragons are very magical creatures. And when one of them dies and their blood spills out, as soon as it touches water, it bursts into flame. And that immediately sparked my imagination. I thought, okay, dragon's blood can do some really cool things. Fast forward a few years later, I run some nautical campaign, and there's a bunch of dragon eggs in the hold. They start hatching, so they have to quickly get to land. When they do, all these baby red dragons go around torching the village. They kill one, and now their blade is magical, and they quickly learn that swinging this blade around, it's now a magical blade. And they got super excited, far more excited than I thought they would. And then when I introduced this playtest material of the dragon being trapped, the moment they realized that this was a trapped dragon and this was dragon's blood and they could make the things magical, again, they got really excited. So, I mean, I've had this idea brewing in my mind for a while, so it's not something that I get super excited about now. But seeing the reactions from other people, it's obviously got some merit to it as an idea. So I'm going to pursue this as a recourse, and there's going to be more relics doubtlessly created because of this sort of thing. Another couple of quick magical items before I head off, because this video is already 12 minutes long. I love fancy little things. So back when it was all like elementally themed stuff, I had these gauntlets that were made of rock. So these rock gauntlets were attuned to the element of earth, and you could phase into stone so long as part of the palm was always in contact with the surface. So you couldn't like go deep diving into the earth, but you could go through some walls. And if you came out of one surface and put your hand on the other surface, you could go through walls that were shorter than your arm span. Essentially, so you could sneak into castles and things without disturbing the actual rockwork itself. That was very quickly abused, so I've since limited it to a single gauntlet that exists in the world, rather than an entire battalion of troops that have these things, and the party stole loads. And when I next put them in a dungeon environment, they just hid under the floor. So like parties would just go past them and then get up and sneak out. So yes, that was far more powerful than I'd anticipated. So that is now a single gauntlet, a single glove that you can use. And again, yeah, it could be used for sneaking around and stuff. Another one is I love using the what's it called now? It's probably in the Dungeon Master's Guide for 5th edition. In 3rd edition, it definitely was. When you're creating like glamours on magical items to make them look one way when they're really another. Like you can make a sword look like a stick, like until you tap it on the ground or something, and then it reveals it's a sword in all its glory. A shield that looks like a small buckler and then expands to a big shield with a spiral metal thing going on. I also like the idea of playing with mechanisms masquerading as magic items. Because back in a medieval thing, that would seem rather magical. There's, in fact, a podcast, the In the Interest of Pedantry podcast that I do with an archaeologist, a physicist, and a modern guns and weaponry expert. We talked about magic weapons. It was the first episode, and it's the only episode that's up on SoundCloud. The others I've been editing. I've got one of them edited, in fact, and I need to stick it up on YouTube or something because I'm struggling to find a free way for me to put this podcast up on iTunes and things, because you need to like have it in one central location. And SoundCloud, I can only get up to 2 hours worth of audio on there, so it's tough going. Anyway, so yeah, on that podcast we talked about magic stuff and how essentially stainless steel would be magic. You'd have a lightweight, very durable material that does not rust. That's a magic sword. That's so using science as we understand it now to explain magic items back then. I like that. So the idea of using like a glamour thing to make a shield appear one way and actually be another way. Another one was ironwood braces, which I like the idea of. But yeah, that's pretty much it that I can remember. There was a crown as well, but I can't remember what it does. I had a slip of paper, not a slip of paper, several slips of paper, which I'd drawn these items on and written notes about, and I lost it, and then I found it again a few days ago. And so in yesterday's video, I got really excited that I've got these slips of paper, I can talk about them all, and I've lost the slips of paper again. They are gone somewhere. These are relics lost to time, which I shall have to do a video on again another time. But yes, that's going to be it for today, because Jesus Christ, it's been 16 minutes. I've been talking a lot. And yeah, it's like 3 minutes past midnight here. So I will go. I will go to bed and have some sleep and stuff. Darius, cheers for joining me on this. It's always nice to see someone there now that I've had someone there. But yeah, and keep up the good work with your own videos, man. I should actually like and comment. I'm very, very voyeuristic in my usage of things. Like I'll go and watch people's stuff, and then just like, yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, I rarely interact. My wife got on at me about it on Facebook. She's like, "Oh, I keep tagging you in these things, and you click like." I'm like, "Yeah, because I like it and stuff, and that's it." She's like, "Oh, but leave a comment." I don't know, I'll talk to you about it. But yeah, so I'm not very good at interacting on these things. Thank you. I like the idea of the fantastic imagery. Yeah, I try to